Hey friends, welcome to the podcast. I am Melissa Matheson, and it's Wednesday. We're talking about the camels coming and how, just like in the Bible in Genesis 24, the camels brought Isaac a wife. Today, my friends Kyle and Chelsea are here, and we're talking about how they met, dated, and married. So grab a cup of coffee and join us at the table. We're talking about music, who made the first move, and what happened on those long car rides back and forth to school every day. Today, on What's Next, God? You want your Dr. Pepper at the table?
No, I'm fine. I just had that for breakfast. That with a biscuit. So, yeah.
So we usually start out talking about coffee, but Kyle isn't going to be in this conversation because
he'll probably have something to say about it. He has a thing against coffeers.
About coffee drinkers?
You might want to get
coffeers.
What's the way to say it?
What's your problem with coffee, Kyle?
It's trendy.
If it wasn't trendy, then I'd be fine with it.
But everybody's doing it.
But everybody does it just to do it.
Anti-the-system.
Like, because I can get behind Dave and you guys, because it's like, you guys get it, or whatever. It's like, it's been a thing for as long as forever. But it's the ones that's just like, I'm going to start drinking coffee. And I'm
going to get a cold brew.
Yeah. I'm like, man, if it was like hot water, if that was the thing, you'd be just going to get a cup of hot water.
Which is so funny because Chris Allred and Kaylee were here, and Chris drinks only hot water. Did you know that at the office?
I did. He'll walk through with a cup of hot water.
With a cup so much.
Yes, it's a cup of hot water. So if you
I don't understand why, but that's a cup of hot water.
If you wanted to be trendy, Kyle, you could do that. You could walk around with a cup, pretend like it's coffee. And so you're not into, which I'm not either. Okay, I don't get on bandwagons. I just, like if this is where I'm terrible. And I have to be a better friend for all of my music people. But like when new albums come out, I kind of don't go get them.
Oh, I don't either.
I don't go get them. I just kind of wait, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to hear that. So
I wait till the hype kind of dies.
Yes,
because I'm kind of doing that with this Kanye thing right now.
Me too. I haven't watched or listened to the first thing.
Something's happening. So I'm like, I'm all.
So we're very aware. We know what's going on. We just don't get on the bandwagon.
That's me.
So that's me. What's your Enneagram number? You don't talk about it. You don't like it, do you?
No, I do.
We actually love it.
We love the Enneagram. Okay. Oh, we had this conversation because you're a 1, Chelsea.
I'm a 1.
You are 1, all in 1. What's your wing?
I'm a wing 2.
Okay.
But something I'm discovering, so large Enneagram talk, it's been crucial for our marriage.
Yes.
So I took a deep dive into the Enneagram probably maybe a year ago. Probably a year.
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of Father Richard Rohr. He's a Franciscan priest and is actually an Enneagram 1, and he's one of the major, almost fathers of the Enneagram. And so he talks a lot about when you're in health, you're both wings. You can move in between those.
Yes.
So because Kyle is a 9, I'm trying to move into my 9, but it's not natural.
Enneagram number for you?
9.
You are 9.
Yep.
Wing. You kind of go between both, but
1.
You lean most towards 1.
Yep.
That reformer.
Yes.
That improver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My default, obviously, it's definitely 9. It was kind of weird when I took it and read it. I was like, oh man, this thing's like a microscope on my life.
Reading my mail.
Yeah, for real. But I definitely have those 1 tendencies that come out.
So the Enneagram is a bit trendy right now, but you're okay with that?
Yes. See, this is where it gets weird.
I know. It's hard to explain, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is.
I know why. Because it helps your marriage.
It does. And I think we lean more into something like if you listen to some of the older fathers and mothers of the Enneagram, they talk about what they're seeing happening as far as the trendiness and the memes or whatever. It's great. But we almost try and lean away from those and actually get into the meat of okay, how do we apply this in relationship with people?
Yes.
Which is why, first us.
Absolutely. That's why I got into it when I was going through a major transition in my life with work. I wanted to know, I read something interesting, like the best types of jobs or careers for your Enneagram type. And I was like, I never really thought that we could be predisposed, but I knew it in the back of my mind, predisposed to certain types of careers or things that we love based on our Enneagram number. So in that transition was when I really got into it. And then I wanted my husband Dave to take it because of our marriage. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know his strengths and weaknesses. What does he think? What does he feel? What is his core motivation and all of that?
Yeah.
So I think all that, I think that's why I can get behind it a little more, even though that's kind of, it's sort of like you see it every day as far as the trend is concerned. It's kind of one of those things, kind of, what was it, Myers-Briggs?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that thing, like I took it, I did it, and now I have a different understanding of myself in either workplace or even just in the way I perceive things, and that is always going to stick with me. Whereas like
coffee
or like holes in jeans or cutting off the bottom of your pants or whatever, like that's going to like weed out in like 2 months until something else comes along. Like, you know, I'm not going to wake up one day and be like, I have no idea what I am anymore or whatever.
Like, some of that though, because we are honestly getting a little older.
We talk about a lot recently, feeling the gap. Being around young people, which I think I'm like 17 forever.
Sure.
But I'm not. And so we're feeling the gap more, especially with like RSM students.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We don't relate. And I'm like, I'm feeling the gap that you get when you get older.
So RSM students, that's our Ramp School of Ministry here in Hamilton, Alabama, that Chelsea originally came as a student to Hamilton.
In the 3rd year.
What year was that
2012.
Now, how old are you? Can I ask that?
Yeah. 29. No, wait, 28. I will be 29.
I'm like 28 going on 48. You're like an old soul.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm the uncoolest, oldest.
You're not uncool. You're very cool. Chelsea, how old are you? Are you younger?
I am. I'm 25. I'll be 26 this month, but 25.
And how long have you guys been married?
A year and how many months?
A year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half, yes.
So you're still like newlyweds.
We are still newlyweds. Mm-hmm.
You want to tell everybody how you met?
Yeah.
You know how we met.
So, my first interaction with Chelsea, this is kind of funny. I moved to Hamilton in 2014, but I've been coming to Hamilton since 2009. So, this July was my 10-year anniversary of like coming to conferences and all that. Because,
pause, you're a big music guy. Like, you play guitar, bass. What other instruments do you play?
Those are my 2 like primary instruments. I can kind of like fake my way on piano and like mandolin.
But you've played music with a lot of pretty popular people.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that I've got to do that. Kind of like mind blowing too. Because
you're really good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very good. You even have what? Did I hear a Paul McCartney guitar?
I've got just like a replica. It's like a little it's like a violin bass because the Beatles, that was I got introduced to them in 2000 year 2000, and it was like this whole world opened up. That blew my mind. I was like, these guys are geniuses. I remember hearing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band for the first time. And there's this guitar, it's just this rhythm guitar in the chorus of the song. And I heard that and I was like, I want to be able to do that. And
Were you already playing music at that time?
No.
Oh, so listening to that,
I was like, oh my gosh, I want to play guitar. That sounds awesome.
So when you heard them, that completely opened up your world.
It completely opened up that world. And that's the first time I probably was ever obsessed with like a band or anything like that. Because at that time, like, the boy band trend was happening, and before that,
we don't get into trends.
Yeah, we don't get into trends. Let me highlight that again. If it's cool, I'm not about. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. It was just like nothing was sticking out to me. And then when I heard, whenever I heard the Beatles, I was like, oh my gosh! It's like it was like A plus B equaled C at that moment in my life. I was like, this is amazing.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I spent the better part of 3 years or so. I was just listening to music. I wasn't even picking up an instrument or even attempting, because I didn't know anybody that I knew people at church that played. But at that time, I'm a pretty reserved guy, so I wasn't like tugging on anybody's shirt like, hey, will you teach me? Will you teach me how to play? Anything like that. I started getting that itch again to like really want to play and all that. Like everything I'm hearing on Beatles records, I want to be able to do.
Yes.
So my parents were the youth pastors at our church in West Virginia. So I got thrown in to pick up kids in the church band. It was me and the guy that played bass guitar at my church. I don't know how we got paired up, but we did. Because there was like a pretty large age gap. I was 13. He was in his early 50s at this point. So I don't know why, but we got paired up.
Because you're an old soul.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, this just makes sense. The kid that acts like he's an old guy, just throw him in there. We got to the church. He goes to get his name is Rick Keck, and he went to go get the van keys. And I walked up on stage to his bass, and I just kind of like,
started strumming it.
I just kind of plucked the strings. Like I feel like that's what everybody always does when I like mess with it. They're just like just messing with it. And I just asked him. I said, "Is it easy to learn how to play bass?" And he said, "It is." He said, "And it helps with learning how to play guitar." And as soon as he said that, it was like light bulb clicked on, and I was like, "Okay, that's what I'm gonna do then. I'm gonna sell that guitar that I'm not touching under my bed, and I'm gonna get a bass." He started teaching me chords, and it was wild. I told Chelsea this story because honestly, this is how it felt when we started dating. It felt very natural to me when we started dating. Mm-hmm. But whenever I started playing bass and music was being introduced in my life, it was like I learned how to walk.
Because it was already in you.
It was something that was in me,
knew
but
how to do it already.
But I didn't. There was like I was still crawling. I felt like I'd been crawling my whole life, and as soon as I started playing, it was like I was walking for the first time. I was like,
"That's
whoa.
interesting."
It's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is crazy, and it wasn't a struggle. It felt natural. It felt like it always been in me, but I just needed the pieces to connect.
To come together.
Yeah, to just connect and come together. And so I did nothing but play I just played in my bedroom, like, all the time. Everybody was outside playing football and this and that. I'd get home from school and I'd play. When I was in school, I was looking up music charts and studying the fretboard and, like, doing all the nerdy guitar things, like, I was just taking guitar catalogs to class instead of studying and like just like daydreaming like, oh man, it'd be awesome to get that, or whatever. Picking out my dream guitar. And so that was a crucial kind of moment in my life. And it was wild too because, I don't know if it was just the demographic of where I grew up or whatever, but, where a lot of the environment we're kind of around here in Hamilton, being associated with the ramp, it's a culture of awakening and this and that. I was a part of a group of people, not the church, but like peers my age that were kind of at the crossroads in their life. It's like, well, they're going to go down this direction in life, whether that's good or bad. They're about to make that turn, and it was like, whenever I started playing music, the Lord used that to kind of veer me away. I always had a heart for the Lord. And I was saved when I was 8 years old and this and that. But it started to get like, okay, your faith's being tested. Like, your walk's being tested now. It's now kind of on the line. And the Lord used music to kind of catapult me into what I was supposed to do.
Right, because that's what you were created to do. And when you find that thing that you are created to do, it does. It changes the trajectory of your life.
It does. It really, I mean, it did. It completely changed my life.
Yeah.
I never dreamed I'd live in Alabama. Like,
or travel and do music and everything that
stuff.
you've done, because you've traveled internationally playing music for people.
Yeah.
Chelsea, are you musical at all?
No. Not at all.
Complete opposite.
We are complete opposites in every way.
Yeah.
But in the ways that matter, we're a lot alike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it makes it interesting because he's everything I never thought I wanted. I didn't have a list, but I had some things in my head. He was none of them.
I didn't make that bar. No.
And I probably wasn't for him. I wasn't that for him, probably.
All right, so then when you met for the first time...
Yeah, I'm sorry, you asked that like 20 minutes ago.
We just circled right back around to it. So being so different, he was nothing like you were thinking.
No, he caught my eye when I saw him.
He actually did.
You can probably tell that story.
We were at an event in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Chelsea was helping me with events.
Yeah.
And there was this guy that came in from West Virginia to help with the music in the band for the event. And she said, "Who's that guy?"
Who's that? Fresh meat.
Said, "That is Kyle." And she said, "Oh. Well, actually, you and a couple of other girls went, oh." But Chelsea was
I got
thick. Back off.
I own up to having that effect.
Oh.
So I go backstage and go, "Hey, Kyle, you ever thought about moving to Hamilton, Alabama?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Actually, I'm moving next week."
Yeah.
And he did.
The conference was over.
He moved from that event.
So I moved in 2013 in Cleveland. And then I moved.
Oh, Cleveland, that's right. Not Chattanooga, Cleveland.
Which, they're between
they're not far from each other, but different event. Yes, Cleveland.
So, what was it like? When the ramp ended, the event ended, I went home, packed, and moved the next day.
Yeah.
So I moved and ended up rooming with one of my best friends. And from there, I sure didn't know who Chelsea was. And there was one Wednesday night I was playing. This was months later, like after I moved. And I'm sitting there talking to this guy. And this is our first encounter. I'm sitting there talking to this guy. And like about music or who knows, John Mayer or something. I don't know. But she comes up, starts talking to me and him. And she says, like, I don't know who she is, but she knows. She
knows who you are.
I know who he is.
I can't even remember what the first part was, but she said, "Kyle, we're going to have to get you out of that house hanging out with some other people other than Tyler, who was my best friend."
Your best friend and roommate.
Yeah.
Yes, because, side note, he and Tyler England were childhood best friends.
Yeah.
Went on the road with Eddie James. Came to Hamilton to the ramp. Had done everything. But locked themselves up in that cabin
and played music.
And they were both single. So I was like, we got to get them out of here.
Yeah, they were both single.
Yeah.
And very eligible bachelors.
Yes.
And we had wonderful, beautiful single women in our community, in our friend group.
We just had other stuff going on, guys.
But, so that's why I remember it clearly. I remember seeing him. I knew the guy well that he was talking to, and I thought, I'm just about to march right up to him.
And she did. Literally just got up and said, "We're going to get you out of that cabin hanging out with other people other than Tyler." And then walked away. And then I got just...
I'll just leave this
super
right here.
And I'm like, it was kind of like, I don't know, probably like getting in a car wreck and like not realizing what happened until afterwards. Like, what just happened there? So I remember I walked out and got into the vehicle with Tyler. And I sat and I said, he said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Some random girl just come up to me and said, I need to get out of the cabin with you or whatever and hang out." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know about that." And then we just drove off and never gave me any thought.
That was that.
That was my first encounter with Chelsea. Then after that, I don't know, you can chime in at any point, but after that, she was real good friends and still good friends with the Devaney's. Mm-hmm. And myself and Tyler, we would go over there and like watch movies and,
eat dinner.
deer or whatever else.
We're in Alabama.
We are in Alabama, just to highlight that again. Eat deer and just watch movies and hang out. And Emily Devaney started inviting Chelsea over. So.
Oh, looky there.
Yeah, but again, it was not on my radar at all.
Then we had a pivotal moment. We did hang out with a couple of our other friends and went to a concert. Which, if anyone knows Kyle, concerts are his love language. His thing. That is his thing.
Yeah. So what concert was it that you went to?
It was Johnny Swim in Birmingham, but it was kind of, I have to say this because they're trendy now.
They're trendy, so I haven't bought a ticket in years.
This was pre-Johnny Swim,
it was
really
kind of under the radar
up.
still.
It was almost like a smaller bar venue.
Yeah, it was a really tiny venue.
It was a tiny thing, but that was when we actually hung out for the first time, and I remember thinking, he is so kind. He's so nice. I was telling my best friend Kirsten, she was with us, and she kept saying, he's so sweet. And we didn't know at the time the Enneagram, but now knowing that he's a 9, those were the things I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did it click with you that night?
No.
It didn't click with me either. I was just oh wow, he's kind and nice.
And I just thought, well, she's fun. She's pretty. That's great. And then the next day I did something else.
So when did it finally click?
So, it really clicked.
Oh wait, y'all used to go to school, ride to school together. You took classes and had to ride an hour a day or
2 hours a day and a day.
Random. I don't even remember how it came about, but Chelsea said she was also going to go.
Mm-hmm. And I had coming to RSM was a non-traditional route for my family and for my life, and so part of the agreement with my parents letting me come to RSM, which it was first just a 9-month agreement, letting me come here and then go to real college was the deal. I ended up staying 2 years of school, and here we are 8 years later. I'm still here.
But you did go to
But I did go to college. So the agreement with my parents is all through RSM, I did online classes for college with RSM. So it was at that point I had to transition to a full university to finish my degree. So we were at the same point of about 2.5 years of school. So he approached me actually at the same event that we had. He had caught my eye.
No, it was when Chris Valentin came here. Remember that Wednesday? That's when we started talking about it. In that December. That's when we started.
Solidified it at the event.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I guess that's whenever she first said, "Hey, I'm going to UNA too," and I was like, "Oh, well, okay, that's cool that you're going." And then we talked or whatever. But then, like you're saying, at the event, we were solidifying. Well, we can ride together for the orientation, and then if our schedules work, maybe we just ride up together.
And they did.
And they sure did.
They worked out.
It was kind of now. This is the Lord, because the way it was going to fall, we were going to graduate the same semester and everything, and we did.
But how did your classes line up? Because you're in music, you're in business.
Yeah,
it just worked out. Now looking at it was totally the Lord, but at the time it was just friends, and we really enjoyed each other's company. And now we say, this would be our dating advice: time and conversation. Because we spent a lot of time together and a lot of conversation with no agenda. So we were friends. There was no interest. I was seeing someone else at the time away from Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
He had come out of a really bad breakup the year before. 2 years before.
Yeah, 2 years before.
A long relationship. So it wasn't even on our radar.
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, I want to get in a vehicle.
Gotcha.
I didn't really have I'm oblivious, remember? So I don't really have an agenda. So I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. We'll ride up together, save gas, and whatever. She's good company. I can get behind that.
He said there were a lot of days he never said a word. I would just talk the whole time, just about anything and everything.
What do you know? We're in Florence. An hour later.
But he was easy to talk to. It was very natural. There was no agenda. It was just great conversation.
We spent. It was 2 hours every day with each other. 4 or 5 days a week.
Wow.
Depending on the schedule. So outside of everything else that we were a part of and doing, so it was literally just kind of, we were sort of in our own bubble. And again, yeah, it's like she said, we didn't have an agenda, like we were trying to get together or anything like that. And then here comes the talks and the chatter all around us. So like, you guys got a thing going on or whatever. And we're like, no, we're just friends. We're just friends.
And we were.
And yeah, we sincerely were. But then I started to notice I'm really enjoying her company a lot more than before, you know. And it was just gradually kind of becoming that. And then that March, Ray Hughes was speaking in Florence. And he had spoken Florence like a couple months prior. So a big group of people here went to go listen to him. But I was working, or there was school or something that caused me not to be able to go. So he was coming back a second time. And I was like, oh man, I want to go, but I don't really know anybody that will want to go. And like with me out even thinking, like just driving back from Florence one day, I was like, hey, Ray Hughes is speaking and at this date or whatever. You want to go, Kelsey? And she was like, yeah, let me see it. And we pulled out a calendar.
I freaked out because I was like, is this a date?
Because that's a
But it was Ray Hughes, and then we both loved Ray Hughes, but it was like, it's just church. You know, we all, that's all we, that's our life.
And in my head, I was like, I'm not asking her on a date. I need somebody to go, you know. so we went. And
went as friends.
As friends. But we didn't tell anybody, so that should have been a high. I don't think we told anybody. We were like, just kind of went. And after, on the way back, our conversation started to get a little more like, okay, everybody's talking about us, and we were kind of like, who cares what they think? Let's just be friends, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're just saying, you know, let's hang out. If we want to hang out, let's hang out. If we want to hang out in front of people, let's do it. Like, totally not care what everybody else is thinking. And I think it was that Wednesday is whenever we all, it was like 2 days later, and we were like throwing it out on the line, basically. We were driving back from school. Like I said, after we got back from the Ray Hughes thing, I actually went over to her and Kirsten's place to hang up some curtains. For some reason.
He kept, here's how I knew. I knew I liked him at that point, but he kept finding ways to be around me more. And so I was like, okay, I can read between the lines, you know, because I'm not oblivious. I knew every move had an agenda. So.
You are a true Southern girl.
Yes.
Through and through.
Through. So that Wednesday, almost back to Hamilton, we pull up in his driveway, and he says, like, this is like our day that we knew, you know, and he says, I sure wish these car rides lasted a lot longer. And that was all I needed.
Let me chime in. Again, I consider myself a pretty nice guy, and like, or whatever. And I was like, just sincerely thinking, I was like, man, I do wish these car rides were longer. I said, we pull into the driveway, and I just said, you know, I really wish these car rides were long. And that's as far as I meant for it to go. In my head, and then all of a sudden.
No, Chelsea had you married.
Yeah.
I had us.
She said, okay, well, since you said that, it was like the floodgates open.
And for 2 hours, we sat in that car, and we spilled it all.
Yeah. And then I walked in the house and sat on the couch, and I was like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah. And our walkway from that day was.
Yeah, it was obvious.
We're just going to, you know, ride. Did you say ride the brakes? Was that
no, so we'll just take it easy. We don't have to punch the accelerator or whatever it was.
See where it
my
goes.
analogy was.
Mm-hmm. But it moved fast after that.
After that point, it was, since we kind of thrown it out there, we're like, well, I think I've got feelings for you. You've got feelings for me. We'll just take it slow, just take it easy. But we were just kind of kidding ourselves at that point.
Yeah.
But
you guys had a long history of,
so we had
you had built a long lasting
we got to know one another.
So once you made that decision,
it was easy.
It was easy because you'd already built that foundation as friends.
And I knew I was all about it because going back to the music thing earlier, whenever I started playing, it was like walking. It was natural. Up to that point, I sure hadn't had that with another person or, anything external outside of that feeling. But those car rides and all those conversations, all that stuff, it was just easy. I wasn't like having to conjure it up or like, oh, I wonder if she'll think this is cool or what. It was very easy. So
what did your friends say? What did your roommate say, Kyle?
Nothing really.
Nothing.
He was just like, so you two, right? I was like, yeah. And he said, okay. And then that was it.
Yeah, my friends loved him.
Yeah.
They had known him, and it was nice because everyone around us, they loved it, We had never thought of it, but...
I don't feel like I had anybody say like, I think that's a good idea or anything like that. Yeah. Everybody was just kind of like, hey, this is great, cool.
It seemed good, so...
It felt good, seemed good. There's peace, so it was like, well, okay.
And to me, that's the huge thing about living in community and finding people that you're doing life with. Because when you get into transitional moments like this, especially in dating, you're going to need outside people.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Looking in to go, hey, thumbs up. This is a good thing. We like that. Because it helps you. It helps you feel peace about the decisions that you're making moving forward and doing it together. So how long did you date before you officially proposed?
So we dated...
from that sitting in the driveway for 2 hours.
We dated 3 years until we got married. It was almost 3 years.
You were finishing up school. And
so we were, we were a little bit older, but we were also finishing our degrees. That was important. We did long distance for those last 2 years, just with finishing college, jobs. I moved to Nashville for a season out of college, but it was about 3 years. But we had a 4-month engagement, so.
But yeah.
Over 2.5 years.
And in the middle of that, there was a...
we did break up.
We did break up for a little bit.
Had a little breakup.
But it was good. And when we got back together, there was no wasting time.
Okay, time to get a ring.
Let's get this moving. So.
And your wedding was in March?
It was in March,
April.
Yeah. I just remember it was cold.
It was the coldest day of the spring.
But it was.
It's the next morning when we flew out of Nashville for our honeymoon. It was snowing.
In Nashville.
But in Nashville, in the South, in Tennessee.
What was so wild was, I remember me and the groomsmen, Chelsea had already been up there too. We got married on a Sunday. We got up that Friday to get into our cabins and this and that. And it's 70 degrees.
Perfect.
Just unreal. And then the next day, that Saturday, this crazy storm blows through. Tornadoes, blah, blah, blah. And the next day came a serious cold front. So it was 42. And they're
and you got married outside.
But
it was beautiful.
We had the option.
Oh, we had great pictures.
And
it was beautiful.
They look good now,
But looking back, it's it was great.
We had the option to go in a barn with heaters and all that, but Chelsea was nope. That's what we're doing. I'm going to tough it out. And I was at that point, I was I don't care what we do.
I'm getting married.
I'm getting married.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And stayed there for...
a week or so.
7 or 8 days.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. And that was the thing that I loved the most about it was Chelsea mentioned a second ago, when we first started dating, our first year, we were with each other every single day in some capacity. There were some days, obviously, but every day we were with each other. And then she moved back home to finish school. I moved to Florence, and then she went to Nashville. I was in Florence, moved back to Hamilton. So the better part of 2 years after that first year was long distance.
So that was the first time that we got to be together.
Yeah.
For over 2 years.
For over 2 years. That length of time consistently. Just us. Ever. So it was huge. That was such a big deal. I enjoyed that more than anything.
Yes, we had a long honeymoon too when Dave and I got married, and if that could be my advice, take a honeymoon and take a long one and just enjoy every day this new life together. So, anything you do differently about any of it?
Kyle would have a smaller wedding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Southern.
Oh, God.
And I come
It'd be
from
like 10 people.
big family. Both sides of my family are huge. So, now, I know people have bigger weddings, but, like, our guest list was, like, over 300. But, like, the first 100 or so was just my immediate family.
Like, immediate family.
That, like, I have close relationship with. And then being here at the Ramp, like, a huge community that we're very close with. So it was a big wedding, but and they stuck it out in the cold, so it was great. But Kyle would have had a much smaller, intimate, and I can see the perks of that now.
Yes,
my dream would be to have a second wedding because once you do one, you're like, oh wow, I know what I would do different now. But
well, you can always do that. Renew your vows.
Yeah,
which will be a much smaller party.
So.
Bring Ray Hughes.
Yes. Let him anoint our wedding.
In Ireland, maybe.
Yes.
That's our
that's like a bucket list.
To go to Ireland with Ray sometime.
Tell me some other bucket list stuff. That's a great topic.
Well, our big one coming up maybe next year is we want to do an out west
road
trip. So Kyle has traveled a ton, and I've traveled a ton too. He's traveled with music. I come from a big baseball family. Grew up doing that, traveling to different stadiums for my cousins, and so we want to do like all 50 states, all the national parks. You know, that's our next biggie.
How long would that take?
So the trip I've got planned out that I want to try to do next year, it's right over 2 weeks, and everything that we've kind of like talked about wanting to cover. In order to do like a true hitting it all, we have to split it up into multiple trips. So this trip, if it all goes the way I'm wanting it to go, it'll be a like Northwest Pacific, and then hit the west like Montana and all that. Come back down from the Dakotas, and then hit Wyoming and bring it back around to Colorado, and then bring it back.
Would you like drive it in a car? Or would you like rent an RV or something?
We would do it. We would fly out there and then drive back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fly out to like Oregon and then drive the whole thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the second trip would be
the lower half.
Fly to California, top of California, maybe Oregon, and drive
down the coast.
All down the coast, and then hit the Southwest and hit all those parks.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm hoping I get my stuff together to make it happen. So that's one. What's another bucket lister thing?
I mean, like Hawaii, stuff like that.
Of course.
Now, I'm a homebody.
Yes.
So I love to travel, but like Kyle, even on our honeymoon, I was like, I'm ready to just get home and start life.
It's like what are you talking about?
It's I think it may be the one in me.
Yes.
I like
order,
plan, order. I love my home because I'm in charge, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
which you have a beautiful home, by the way.
Yeah, we love our house.
So what's next with your house? I hear you just renovated a kitchen.
Yeah, so we bought a 1935 cottage in like our downtown area, and the house was like in great condition. So we renovated a bathroom, renovated the kitchen this year, and now we're pausing for holidays and stuff. So the next big project, if we do it, there's an unfinished upstairs. That would be our next, and that would be Kyle's music sanctuary. Yeah. So.
Do you do music lessons or anything?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been doing them for a number of years. I did them when I lived in West Virginia. Anywhere from kids to adults.
Do you ever do any like lessons via Skype for anybody?
I used to.
Okay.
I had one student that I kept for about 2 years, and a friend from West Virginia, I was giving his son lessons for. He like knew basic guitar stuff, but I was trying to teach him how to play lead and a little bit of music theory and all that kind of stuff.
So are you taking new students? If people are listening and they want to, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So they can email me at alfreykyle@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
And I'll put that in the show notes too, so people can find it if you're interested in music lessons from our incredibly talented guitar bass playing friend.
Thank you.
I love these two. Kyle and Chelsea are as opposite as night and day, but their friendship and affection for each other runs deep. Over the years, I've watched them cheer each other on in their unique giftings while growing together in marriage. My friend Kyle is an amazing guitar player, and if you're looking for lessons, I've put his email info in the show notes. If you've been enjoying the podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Ratings and reviews help us get this podcast to more listeners. And if we're not yet connected on social media, let's be friends. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook under the name Melissa Matheson. That's math, like 4 + 1 = 5, I before E, son, S-O-N, as in my 17-year-old son who let a classmate shave his head in the school bathroom last year, but we'll save that story for another day. Friends, I hope you plan to join us each week on Mondays and Wednesdays as we sit around the table, have a cup of coffee, and talk about what's next, God.